Hey everybody, it's Crystal, and Google says that the Google Pixels have the best smartphone cameras ever. I have the Google Pixel XL right here, and I'm gonna test it out and see if it's true with all the main flagships out right now, starting with the iPhone 7 Plus. And if you're wondering why my phones look like this, I have some D-brand skins on them, so if you want one for your phone, if you're interested, got that link in the description for you. Let's get to it. So let's start with the biggest reason Google claims the Pixel's camera is the best. It's dynamic range capabilities, and this is probably my favorite thing about the camera. Throughout this comparison, you'll usually notice an overall darker image on the Pixel, but nothing will ever be overexposed, which allows backgrounds like the skies to come through. And that's very important because while you can always change color temperature, colors, and contrast in an editing program, there is no amount of editing that can fix overexposed areas. I am better exposed in the iPhone shot, however, and I am the main subject here, so that's what's important. But overall, the Pixel doesn't leave out any details anywhere in the image, subject or background. It's a bit more vibrant too, with more contrast, which makes it a little less realistic than the iPhones, but I do actually like it. The iPhone is also a little more cropped than the Pixel's more wide-angle lens. But what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below, because this is all up to preference, and in my opinion, I like the more eye-catching image on the Pixel here. Here's another look at the great dynamic range capabilities of the Pixel. And like I said, the iPhones looks much more natural, where the Pixel almost looks like it's been photoshopped and stylized. But still, what's important is that the Pixel was able to capture all the details and colors of the sunset without making me just a black silhouette. And that's thanks to its HDR Plus mode, which not only takes different shots quickly of different exposures and pieces them together like the iPhone, but afterwards it has a ton of post-processing that takes about 3 seconds to render, where it boosts the colors, contrast, denoises, and helps overexposed areas even more. And when it comes to dynamic range, the Pixel wins almost all the time. Once again, you'll notice a really nice realistic image on the iPhone 7, while the Pixel looks a little less realistic by adding a big boost in vibrancy and also contrast. Now, some people might say that's what makes a camera good, is how realistic photos look. And others say what makes a camera good is how pleasing photos look to the eye. And this kind of all comes down to what you be using the photos for, so everyone's is different. But overall, I love the colors of the Pixel here. Now, if we use the iPhone 7 Plus, we can say that both phones have a lens blur effect. If you step back with the iPhone 7 Plus, zoom in with the second telephoto lens, and then switch to portrait mode, it'll blur the background in real time to get some nice depth of field. And on the Pixel, you need to stay where you're at and switch to lens blur mode, where you then click the shutter and slowly move the phone up, and the effect is applied on top of the photo. So it's a bit more of a process there, and they're both far from perfect. They do create a lot of errors, but that telephoto lens on the iPhone 7 really helps make the background appear to have bokeh more naturally. But it is called portrait mode on the iPhone, which means it's supposed to work with faces better since it uses facial recognition. But still, whether I'm looking straight into the camera or the lens, it has some trouble, especially with hair. So I think the Pixel does a better job at properly blurring the background and usually captures more detail, but it's kind of a hassle and you don't get that close-up background effect. Most of the time, the iPhone creates these lens blur shots better. In this shot, both images look pretty good, but the foreground in the iPhone 7's picture is pretty dark compared to the Pixel. The basket and shallots are bright enough to see, but below, where the cloth meets the table, it's so dark that they disappear. And the iPhone 7 also has a bit more noise than the Pixel. The Pixel is a clear winner. When you find an area that has the same lighting all throughout, like right here, where the Pixel's great dynamic range capabilities isn't much of a factor, the iPhone 7 finally puts up a good fight. I mean, both pictures are almost identical. The iPhone does have a more soft, less contrasty image than the Pixel though, but that doesn't really hurt the image here. I mean, once again, it looks very natural and realistic, and the Pixel definitely has more contrast, which looks great, but it does lose some information in the shadows. Now, there's a very small boost in colors with the Pixel, which I do like, but they're just so close that there's really no clear winner here. They're both great. The Pixel's HDR Plus mode really is fantastic, but sometimes you never know what it's going to do. Sometimes it's just too much. Like here, the blue of the sky comes through much more on the Pixel, but this was taken around sunset, and this harsh, cool color temperature, in my opinion, looks too unnatural. It's also a little too dark. Now, the iPhone may not capture as much information in the bright areas, but its warmer color temperature creates a more natural photo, which in this situation, I think looks a little better than the Pixel. Okay, so moving into low light, this is where HDR Plus really shines. Right off the bat, you can see the huge differences in vibrancy. The pixel is much more colorful. And if we zoom in, you'll see that the edges of the objects are much more defined with the pixel, another HDR Plus feature. In fact, if we really zoom in, you can see some little errors in the post-processing. It doesn't look that great from this close up, but from far away, it looks fantastic. It makes the leaves pop out much more than the iPhone 7's more airbrushed look. So here, the pixel is a clear winner. In this shot, it's hard to say which is better because, well, Dios mío, when you look at the brightness and those colors on the pixel, it looks incredible for a low light picture, but at the same time, very unrealistic, almost like a crazy filter was slapped on top. But still, it handles bright areas better, you can read the store signs better, and there's a ton of post-processing sharpening going on, which looks very strange up close, but from far away, it looks nice with the tree leaves and the windows being very defined. Now, this photo is going to split a ton of users, but I do like the pixel's image a bit more, I think. Although I can definitely see how people would think it looks horrible and the iPhone 7 is better. Okay, so this is our last low light image, and this time in a dark room of my house, but the same things can be said. The colors are just crazy vibrant with the pixel, with the iPhone 7s being so dull in comparison. And there's also much more noise as well, so when it comes to low light, the pixel usually does better than the iPhone. For selfies, the main difference all comes down to the angle of the lens. And I don't know why Apple hasn't ever changed the angle of their selfie lenses. I mean, with the Pixels photo, you can see more than just my face, and you have more context as to where I am. Quality-wise, both do a great job. The Pixel carries over the traits from the rear camera, being a little bit darker, but exposing the brighter areas better, lots of contrast, maybe a bit too much here, and very vibrant colors. Just by quality alone, I do prefer the iPhones a little bit more, but if I could only pick one though, both phones do a decent enough job that I would probably pick the Pixel thanks to it getting more in the shot. If we take our selfies to low light, of course we still have a wider lens with the Pixel, but this time the Pixel also takes the crown when it comes to quality. It's much more colorful, less grainy, and you don't even have to zoom in to notice the details in my sweater and hair. And the iPhone is also very soft here, making the Pixel the winner. Now, video is very interesting because this is a battle between the natural optically stabilized image with the iPhone 7 and the electronically stabilized image with the Pixel. But the Pixel actually does a great job at keeping up with the iPhone. I mean, the Pixel actually appears to be smoother than the iPhones, but since it's hunting for something to lock on, when panning around, you do get some really janky and stuttery movements that can be very distracting. And quality-wise, I'm shooting this in 4K on both, and I'm really surprised at how good the Pixel looks. The colors are beautiful, much more vibrant than the iPhones. It's a little better with dynamic range too. So when it comes to video quality, I really do like the Pixel's beautiful colors here and great dynamic range. And as for stabilization, the Pixel is the smoothest on a smartphone as long as you're walking straight. I mean, it does look a little unnatural though, and when panning around, it can be very annoying with this stuttering. So for a longer video, I think I would much prefer the iPhone's video without those annoying distractions. Like all camera comparisons, it always comes down to preference. But there is no doubt that the Google Pixels handle dynamic range so much better than the iPhone. And I know that may seem unrealistic or unnatural sometimes, but I happen to like it. But I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below which camera did a better job in your opinion. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for all the other camera comparisons coming out with the Google Pixel and Pixel XL, and also the review coming soon, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys later.